Jai Hind to all of you. I am Dr. Himani Garg, working as professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Akgec Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today I am going to discuss about an important topic of wireless communication system as vocoders. Now the slides will include theory of vocoders and types of vocoders. So as the name suggests, vocoder, any device that is used for converting the voice signal or coding the voice signal, that is will be called vocoder. Whenever we want to transmit our voice signal to a longer distance in a digital form, then we will make use of vocoders. So vocoder is an audio processor that is used to transmit speech or voice signal in the form of digital data. So whenever voice is to be transmitted in digital form, not in analog but in digital form, then we make use of vocoder. It is used as short form of voice coder, are basically used for digital coding of speech and voice simulation. So ultimately, if you are converting the speech signal into digital form, that means we are simulating the voice signal. So it is also called voice simulation. The bit rate for available narrowband vocoders is from 1.2 to 64 kbps. So this is the bit rate. Now the vocoder operates on the principle of formants. Now what are these formants? Formants are basically meaningful components of a speech that is generated due to human voice. So whenever we are speaking, for example, if I am speaking, then with my voice signal, there are so many wanted voice signal, there are many sound signals that are also produced. So if we are taking out that important information from our speech signal that can be used to regenerate the voice signal again, then we call it as formats. Formats are basically the meaningful components. These are the meaningful components. So whenever a speech signal is transmitted, it is not needed to transmit the precise waveform. If I am speaking, now I am speaking in front of camera, my voice signal is there. If it is to be converted into digital form, then it is no need to take precise waveform of my voice signal. We can take the important information from this voice signal, and with that important information of my voice signal, that means the formats, we can at the receiver, we can again convert this digital data into voice that I am sending. So that's why there is no need to transmit the precise waveform. We can simply transmit the information by which one can reconstruct that particular waveform. This reconstructed waveform at the receiver must be similar. Obviously, whatever we are transmitting, if we are transmitting only the important points and at the receiver, again the same information is being retrieved from that information should be the same as that of transmitted one. So the receiver must be similar and identical to the waveform actually transmitted. Now as you can see in this picture, person is speaking. Now in between we are having a vocoder, we are having this vocoder, and it is converting the signal into digital form, this audio signal into digital form. So this will be the function of vocoder. Now how the vocoders work, we will discuss about this. Vocoders works in such a way that it first captures the characteristics element of the signal. Signal means voice signal here. It will pick up the characteristic signals of that voice signal. Then other audio signals are affected by the use of that characteristic signals. Then the other audio signals that we will be, the characteristics that we are covering, they will be affecting other audio signals. Vocoders are a class of speech coding system that analyze the voice signal at the transmitter, transmit parameters derived from the analysis, and then synthesize the voice. As this is not the actual voice that we are transmitting, actually we are converting it into digital form and then again simulating that in the audio signal. So it is the synthesization of the voice signal using those parameters. Whenever we are speaking, we are having the every voice signal has a particular pitch or frequency. So the pitch frequency for most speakers is below 300 Hz, and extracting this information from the signal is very difficult. As it is a very low frequency signal, 300 Hz, that is a very low frequency signal. So it is difficult to take out this information from the voice signal. The pole frequencies correspond to the resonant frequencies of the vocal tract and are often called formats of the speech signal. So the signal that we are speaking, that is of a particular frequency. Now the frequencies that we are talking about, the pole frequencies, they are equivalent to the resonant frequencies and they are called the formats of the speech signal. For adult, the formats are centered around 500 Hz, 1500 Hz, 2500 Hz and 3500 Hz. By meticulously adjusting the parameters of the speech generation model, good quality speech can be generated. Now you can see here is the small block diagram of the vocoder. You can see here we are having one impulse generator, one is noise generator. As our signal will be having, in the next slides we will discuss that our voice signal consists of two types of signals. One is voiced and another is unvoiced, that we will discuss. And there is a switch that will switch between voice and unvoiced sounds. Then there is a filter is there. Then ultimately we are getting the synthesized speech signal. So the main aim of the vocoder is to take out the important information, and the important information is the formats, and from that formats we have to convert that signal to digital form, and then at the receiver we can synthesize the voice signal. Now to understand the vocoders in detail, we should have an idea about the human speech, that how the human speech, what are the characteristics of the human speech. Human speech is produced from filtering operation formed by larynx, pharynx, oral and nasal cavity. So whenever we are speaking, then larynx, pharynx and nasal cavity, oral, all these things are involved when a human is speaking. All these things are involved. The sound channel is physiological filter. Sound signal is a physiological filter which shapes the stimulus from the lungs. From the lungs, different sounds are formed by changing the filtering characteristics. Whenever we are filtering, that means we are transmitting whatever we are transmitting here, whatever we are speaking, that is of a particular frequency, and this filter will act as a filter to filter out the particular frequency. So we are getting different types of sounds. The characteristics of the filter changes depending upon the position of tongue and lips. Tongues and lips, the position of these will decide the characteristics of filter. The voice sound forming starts from the lungs. Midriff muscles press the lungs and causes overpressure to the trachea. The vocal cord starts to vibrate and the frequency called the fundamental frequency. The frequency of vibration is about 100 to 110 Hz for males and 200 Hz for females. So this frequency is generated when all these actions take place. Now, in the earlier slide also, we had talked about two types of voice signals, that is voiced and unvoiced signals. The main difference between voiced and unvoiced signal is that voiced sounds have greater amplitude than the unvoiced signals and they are formed in narrow or closed part of the sound channel. Unvoiced sounds are similar to the random noise. So that's why you can see in the last slide, the unvoiced sounds were generated by the noise generator and voiced were generated by the impulse generator, because unvoiced sounds are similar to that of noise. So these are all parts that are involved in human voice generation. Now for speech production, now we have to produce the same type of speech as the human is producing. So for speech production, we are having human speech production modeling or equivalent synthetic speech production blocks. These will be used for speech production. The vocoder process sends only the parameters of the vocal model. Only the parameters that has to be given from the voice signal, only the parameters, few parameters will be provided to the system and accordingly the digitized version of the voice signal will be generated over the communication link instead of point-by-point recreation of the waveform. In earlier slides also we had discussed that we have not to send the precise waveform, we have to send only the required information from which it can be, the actual voice signal can be reconstructed. Since the parameters change slowly compared to the original speech waveform, the bandwidth required to transmit speech can be reduced. If I am sending each and every part of the information, speech signal that I am speaking, then it will take lot of bandwidth. But if we are taking the important information from our voice signal, with which the important we can recreate the original signal, then it will result in bandwidth conservation. This allows more speech channels to utilize a given communication channel. Now you can see here, this is the block diagram of voice generation. First is through human speech. You can see lungs, there is a pressure of sound, then there is A and 1 minus A frequencies that are being generated. This goes for voiced excitation, this is for unvoiced excitation, all these under the control of vocal cords, and then these are quasi-periodic excitation signals, these are unvoiced signals and noise type of signals. These all are added together and the voice comes out from nose as well as from mouth, and this is called articulation and it is speech signal. Now we are generating the same thing with the help of artificial voice generator, that is the vocoder. You can see here there is an energy value that we will be providing to the system, and then whether the voice signal is to be generated or unvoiced signal is to be generated, that will be decided, and accordingly the switch will be controlled according to the voice and unvoiced signal. If the voice signal has to be generated, then it will go to tone generator, that was generating a particular frequency, so that's why it is connected to fundamental frequency. And if unvoiced signal has to be generated, then it will go to noise generator. Both will combine together. Then there is a variable filter or filter coefficients will be there, and accordingly this is the speech signal, this is the articulation or the speech signal that will be generated. So this is how this system will work similar to the human speech system. So these blocks have been explained in this slide. You can see a voice model is used to simulate voice, as speech contains a sequence of voiced and unvoiced signal. This is the basis for the operation of voice model. Before proceeding further, it is better to first understand what is voiced and unvoiced. Voice sounds are basically the sound generated by vibration of the vocal cords. On contrary, the sound produced at the pronunciation of the letters such as S, P or F, S, F, means there is some air coming out from our mouth or from nasal cavity. That means that are not voice signal, that are unvoiced signal or noise type of signal. That's why they are called unvoiced. Sound produced at the pronunciation of letters such as S, P or F is known as unvoiced sound. Unvoiced sounds are generated by the expelling air through lips and teeth. Voice sounds are simulated by impulse generator. Voice sounds are generated by impulse generator, the frequency of which is equal to the fundamental frequency of the vocal cords. The noise source presentation in the circuit is used to simulate the unvoiced. As the unvoiced signals are similar to noise, so the noise system circuit is used to simulate the unvoiced signal. The position of the switch helps in determining whether the sound is voiced or unvoiced. So in this way, after selection of voiced or unvoiced signal, we will be ultimately getting our speech signal. The same, now this is the voice encoder. You can see it how actually we are using various electronic components to generate the voice type of signal, encoded voice type of signal. So the speech input is there. There are different types of, as when we are speaking, speech signal is being there. It comprises of multiple frequencies. So you can see there are band pass filters of different ranges, 200 to 400 Hz, 400 to 600 and 3200 to 3200 Hz. This is written wrong. So this is around 3200. As we have already seen that maximum frequency that can be produced is 3200 Hz. So these are all band pass filters. We are having rectifiers that is used to convert it into digital form. Then we are having low pass filters are there. Ultimately we are getting the DC voltage. This DC voltage is equivalent to our speech signal that comprises of multiple frequencies that are of different ranges depending upon the user having which frequency he is producing. This voltage, DC voltage, is given to A to D converter. A to D converter is there, and this is AD mux is there. All these signals will convert added, and mux will be giving the encoded voice signal. So this is the voice encoder. So all these things I have already discussed with you. What is the function of all the points that we have done? Now coming to the decoder, once the signal has been converted and given in the form of digital form, encoded form, now at the receiver there will be a function of voice decoder. Now what will be the function of voice decoder? Voice decoder will take the encoded voice signal. It will demultiplex and DAC. There is a demultiplexer as well as digital to analog converter. At the transmitter end, we are having ADC as well as demugs, as well as mugs. So here we are having the opposite of that, demugs and DAC. So they are having balance modulators are there, a decoder that will select whether the signal is voiced or unvoiced, and accordingly the pulse generator or noise generator will be asked to generate either the voice signal or the unvoiced signal. And all these frequencies that were earlier that we had seen in this, there were signal comprised of number of frequencies. In the same manner, you will be getting different frequencies depending upon these noise or generation. These will be controlling the balance modulator, and ultimately all these signals will be added, and then we will get the speech output. So this is the function of voice decoder. So this is about voice decoder. I have already explained all of these things, that how digital voice signal is generated by voice encoder is first decoded. The demultiplexer and DAC convert the received encoded back to analog form. Here a balance modulator filter combination is used in correspondence to rectifier filter combination. At the encoding end, we had used rectifier filter combination. Here we are using band pass balance modulator filter combination. The carrier to this balance modulator is either the output of the noise generator or pulse generator, but this depends on the position of the switch. The switch, whether it is voiced or unvoiced, accordingly balance modulator will work. However, the switch position is decided by the decoder. It is so because when the voice signal is received, the switch connects to the pulse generator output, the input of balance modulator. Now, certain BMs will provide the output if the received signal is voiced. This totally depends upon the frequency component of the received signal. Obviously, the frequency component, if it lies between the voice signal or unvoiced signal, then accordingly it will be controlling the switch. But we can get output from all the balance modulators if the received signal is unvoiced. The adder will thus add up all the analog signals and produce voiced or speech output. Now, if I talk about the types of speech coders can be based on the basis of coding techniques. We can have waveform coders, voice coders or vocoders, hybrid coders, analysis by synthesis coders. Now getting a small glimpse of these all coders. Waveform coder, it preserves the original shape of the signal waveform. Original waveform is whatever we are speaking, a waveform is being generated in the form of frequency, then it will preserve that waveform. Better suited for high bitrate coders, example PCM, ADPCMs. Vocoders, speech signal is assumed to be generated from a model which is controlled by some parameters. That we had seen in the earlier slides. The speech parameters, voiced or unvoiced signals, they are controlling the speech signal. During encoding, parameters of the model are estimated from the input speech signal. Then the parameters are transmitted as encoded bit stream. Quality of the decoded speed depends upon model. Obviously, how better is the model, we will get the better quality of the signal. Lower bit rate coder, example G.729 vocoder. Hybrid, that is a combination of different coders. Hybrid coder combines the strength of waveform coders and vocoder. Additional parameters of the model are optimized such that the decoded speech is as close as possible to the original waveform. In waveform, we were getting a best quality of signal. In the case of vocoder, that will depend upon the how better is our model. In hybrid, that is a combination of both medium bitrate coder. Analysis by synthesis coder, improved form of vocoders. Synthesized signals are extracted from the given codebook structure. Codebook is provided. Find the best spiritual match of the original by comparing each synthesized signal to the original one with the minimum error. The parameters representing the best excitation signal and corresponding production filters are then sent over the decoder. G.729 ACLF, ACLF and speech coders. These are the examples. These are the references that I have followed, and thank you for watching.